a mountain of skulls and a castle of pain I sat on a throne of blood. Must you do that every time?
Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the Devourer of Worlds' newest herald, Thor, from the Marvel Legends Controller Wave by Hasbro. Starting off with the packaging, and let's just enjoy the nice window box while we can. Marvel, Thor logo down here, spot varnished hammer up top, some pretty sweet comic art on the side, barcode for those who want it, and even more really cool Thor artwork on the back. Thor does the unthinkable when he becomes the newest Herald of Galactus, aligning with the Great Devourer to stop an even greater threat. Until I read this, I had no idea that that's where this look came from, and with the HasLab getting ready to ship, it seems like perfect timing. The Build-A-Figure for the Wave is the controller. We've already looked at Iron Man, but other figures in the Wave include Blue Marvel, Madam Hydra, Speedball, Quake, and US Agent. For packaging, I'm giving this Thor 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, and Thor stands at just under 7 1/4 inches. And up front, I'm going to admit that this is not only one of the best Thor figures ever made, it's easily one of the best Marvel Legends this year. From the top, and the platinum blonde hair gives him an even more Scandinavian look than we're used to. Very long and luxurious. The blonde eyebrows are giving me flashbacks to Chris Hemsworth in the first movie. Moving on down, and this is a 100% new sculpt and is very finely detailed. Some soft shoulder pauldrons that won't get in the way of articulation. Chainmail arms cast in a marbleized plastic. Spiky gauntlets with a nice leather texture. And even more texture as we move to the tunic. Seriously, look at that fabric. Moving on down, it continues here. Nice leathery strap, I assume from Mjolnir. Again, the cracked texture is out of this world, and even the paint detailing is pretty good. Maybe not perfect, but darn near close. That white line continues down the cape. Very nice folds and wrinkles here. There's texture on the inside of the cape, and I absolutely love how it fades from purple to red. Flipping that cape up, and here's Thor from the back. Flipping up the loincloth, and we can see more of his chainmail, and really great spiky leather boots. Great chips and dings on the knee pads. Really just top marks all around. If it wasn't already abundantly obvious, for presentation, I'm giving this Thor 1 whole point. Moving on to posability, and there's some understandable limitations, but also some nice surprises. From the top, and his head's in a ball joint and a disc hinge. If you think he can get any up and down, you're crazy. He can get side to side though. Moving on down though, and Thor has swivel hinge shoulders that raise up a little bit over 90 degrees. Bicep swivel. Unfortunately, he only has a single jointed swivel elbow, and of course he has swivel hinge wrists. Shifting the torso, and all Thor has is a diaphragm joint. He can arch back this far and hunch forward this far. He can also tilt and twist. Twist him too far though and the paint will disappear. Below the waist, and Thor has ball jointed hips. Thanks to these slits, he can kick forward 90 degrees as a matter of fact, and he can split this far. He also has thigh cut, pinless, double jointed knees, and Marvel Legends ankles that can hinge and pivot. The limitations from the hair and the lack of double jointed elbows will definitely be off-putting for some. As for me, I'm not personally bothered, so for posability, I'm giving this Thor 1 whole point. Moving on to playability, and that's where this figure shines brightest. Naturally, he has his hammer cast in a nice translucent blue plastic. Because I'm not familiar with this story, I don't know if this is actually Mjolnir all charged up or a version of it made out of the power cosmic, but he can hold it like so. And if that wasn't enough, he also comes with this lightning, wrapping it around the hammer, and it looks great. The cool thing is, if you wanted to, you could also use that lightning on your other Thor figures. In addition to hammer holding and open hands, he also comes with alternate fists, and if all that wasn't enough, he comes with not 1 but 2 ravens. Not gonna lie, there's a part of me that would have bought the set just for those. And hey, this one can sit on his shoulder like a parrot. I'm gonna absolutely plead ignorance and let you know that I had to go to Google to learn more about them, and they were originally Odin's ravens. Their names are Hugin and Munin, probably saying that wrong. And if all that wasn't enough, he also comes with the head of the controller. Very nice paint job to bring out those cracks. But playability is more than just butchering the names of mythological creatures who I should have already known about and coming across like a fake fan in the process. It's also about how well your figures play with others. For some other Thor related characters, and here we have my original toy Toy Biz Loki, Mighty Thor, movie version Mighty Thor, movie version Hela, Hercules, Hercules, a horse is a horse, of course, and this person talks to his horse, and the Destroyer. For a fellow Herald of Galactus, and here we have the Silver Surfer, but for some other cosmic characters in general, and here we have Captain Marvel, Cosmic Spider-Man / Captain Universe, and Thanos! For some other Avengers, and here we have Captain America. I thought that the darker 80 years version would be more appropriate for this darker version of Thor. Granted, he's not as dark as this Captain America, but we'll get to him when we get to him. Here we have the Controller Wave Iron Man, but for something a bit more cinematic, here we have the Iron Man Mark III. And again, since it is a darker Thor, I decided to go with the darker 20th Anniversary Hulk. While we wait for the HERALD of Galactus, here he is with the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure version. Considering I can't even fit this guy on my review station without backing out of frame, I have no idea how I'm going to review that guy. For a relative scale comparison, here's Thor with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man. And as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. But I know what you're thinking, what about other Thor figures? And what about head swaps? We're obviously not going to be head swapping this guy, but they're still fun to look at side by side. Also can't head swap the Marvel Select. That said, here we have the 80 years version. I don't know if the aesthetic matches exactly, but the skin tone works. Leastways I think it looks pretty cool. The other way around is definitely a look. I think this is the closest we have to an unhelmeted comic book Thor at this scale. Also, I'm not going to waste time on the side by side, but here he is with Ragnarok. I think it's pretty fun. Next up, and here we have Thunderstrike. I should go on record that when I was talking about unhelmeted Thor heads, I wasn't counting this guy because he is technically a different character. A character with a ponytail. And maybe you'll have better luck, but I cannot get this head to stay on. It's due to a combination of the long hair and high collar. That's alright though, because what I'm really interested in are the movie versions. This one's from Thor: The Dark World. And honestly, this doesn't work. Never mind the fact that it's not that great of a sculpt to begin with, it's simply too small and too high. Conversely, the other way around is simply too big. I'm just gonna go ahead and predict up front that this isn't gonna work either, and you know what? Throw on some silver and red paint for the helmet and there actually might be something here. To help sell the proportions better, I switched out the hands. Oh yeah, and this is kinda neat too. Never mind the missing hands. Honestly, this is the one I'm the most interested in, and I saved it for last. And you know what? This does not disappoint. Switching out those hands definitely massages the proportion issues, and if they ever did this story in the movies, this is pretty much what it would look like. Again, with the HERALD of Galactus shipping soon, the timing for this release is perfect, and I'm blown away by the number of accessories he comes with. For playability, I'm giving this Thor 1 whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price, and even though this wave's retail price is $24.99, I found this Thor at Target for only $22.99. As a 100% all-new sculpt, and considering all the accessories he comes with, this Thor is a better value than deluxe figures we've looked at. If you've been scouring the cosmos for a high-quality Thor, this figure will more than satisfy your great and terrible hunger. For price, I'm giving Controller Wave Thor 1 whole point for a grand total of 5 out of 5. For more Thor videos, check out this Versus or this head swap video for Ravager Thor. If you read current Thor comics, what do you think of this run? Sound off in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.